My name is Kristen, and I have an umbrella cockatoo who's just over about a year old, and her name is Magnolia. I wanted to get a cockatoo because they're just so expressive. They like to be with you, and people call them Velcro birds, and although there's a lot of challenges with behavior with cockatoos because of that, I felt up for that challenge of having a very expressive bird with me that liked to do all my activities with me and wanted to garden and wanted to craft with me, and she sits outside with me, and I just love having a little partner. I first found BirdTricks when I had impulse adopted a very aggressive Moluccan cockatoo. I did everything people said not to say and not to do, and I brought this Moluccan home and did not know where to start or how to even take care of him. It was a very bad idea, and I just in the moment had seen him and did not want him in the environment he was in. I thought I could help him. And so then I just researched everything I could as far as bird training, bird care. BirdTricks came up so much in all of that research and really showed me how to put the methods into play and to show me how to help that bird from the ground up. Starting from the baby course to hormonal behavior to family-friendly parrot and going through all those different videos, it just set a really firm foundation. And I didn't even know about free flight before this. And so when I was going through all of that training, I started seeing all the free flight videos. And actually that started with the Morgan series. I loved the Morgan series. It really drew me in. And then I was like, look how happy she is. She's a totally different bird. She is just loving this, and she became more confident in herself. And so I thought, I want that for my bird. And that's what made me get into researching more about free flight and really wanting to give that to my bird. I chose BirdTricks for a few different reasons. First and foremost, safety. I saw that BirdTricks was really focused on make sure your bird is ready. Don't push your bird too far. Make sure that your bird is enjoying what they're doing, and beyond everything else, just make sure that they are safe. You don't want your little baby to fly off or get hurt or be scared by anything and just keep flying and not being able to recover a bird. And so the training is so important. Like, you could never just take your bird out and try to allow them to fly. There's so much training that goes into it, and BirdTricks was very methodological on that. Every step from the ground up was explained and was monitored by professional trainers, and that was really important to me. The other reason I didn't know I didn't know that I chose BirdTricks because of, but I realized once I was here, is all those safety mechanisms that you guys have in place. Whole group, the free flyers, and they have ATVs and dirt bikes, and everyone has a radio, and everybody's watching your bird, and they're just ready to help if they need to. And I think if I had gone into free flight without all of that, I don't know I ever would have taken that training outdoors. I would have kept it indoors because I would have been so nervous. I would have been incredibly nervous to the point where I think I would chicken out. But I came here nervous, and as soon as we got there and I saw everything in place, I just felt so comfortable, and I could actually just enjoy all the training that I had done with Magnolia, and I could just enjoy the experience in general and not worry about safety at that point because I knew I had people supporting me and watching me and ready to help. I really love the Marshall GPS system. It just gives you that extra layer of security. And even though you really feel confident in your training before you even come out to outdoor free flight, just having that backup and the safety mitigation that brings to free flying your bird was super important. For Magnolia, she was kind of at that weight borderline of, do we need to use telemetry or do we need to use GPS? Because she was on the smaller side. And I really love the statistics and everything that goes with the GPS, so I was very hopeful that we could use that for her. My biggest struggle in training Magnolia is that she's a cockatoo, and cockatoos just have very different reactions to things and responses. So I really had to study her body language really closely. She would get distracted, I thought it was being distracted by different things that were going on around her, and she would lose focus on me as the trainer. But she also, I realized later, is that she was getting really anxious and seeing new things and needed to be desensitized a lot more than I had anticipated. And so that desensitization process really took a lot of time, and I had the training there with her and I had the skills with her, but taking that outdoors it's very different. From indoors to outdoors is a completely different experience, and you need to get them used to that new experience. So when I came here, I got to work with Bondi, which was like the highlight of my trip. So I love Bondi. I just loved her from all the videos. My family knows, my kids know, my husband knows, like Bondi. I love the rose-breasted cockatoo. I love how they are. She's just adorable, her little hey cutie. And so seeing her in person was so fun. And so with cockatoos are, because they're kind of those Velcro birds that want to be with you, Jamie and Dave had a great idea of putting Bondi on the stand with Magnolia and then calling Bondi to kind of get the jealousy factor going. And it was so effective, so effective. Magnolia immediately, seeing that I was training a different bird right next to her, anytime I would call Bondi, Magnolia would immediately fly over because she's like, no, that's my mom. Like, do not go over to her. And so luckily Bondi is a very tolerant and skilled bird. And so she could tolerate that, but it was so effective. So we had been training for months, and Magnolia had really been responding well and recalling well. And then just about a week before the trip, she stopped responding to the recall right away. She was getting more distracted and just not being focused and not coming. So I was able to just text Dave, and Dave, I think, was out traveling even, but he immediately responded and gave me great advice in not training Magnolia for a little while and really getting her to want that training again, because we had been doing it for so long. Maybe she was getting bored, or maybe she just needed to refocus and get that enthusiasm back. And so I did not train her for a short period of time. And then I brought her out thinking, I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but I really hope it is. And I remember immediately training her, and she just started recalling perfectly and doing everything I needed her to do. And I remember responding to Dave like, "You're a genius. This is amazing." And she totally reset, refocused. And it also helped with her weight, and it helped with eating, and she got better all around. And I was so relieved, because that was 1 week before the trip, and I'm thinking, oh no, like she's just now starting to act differently right before we're going. And so it was extremely relieving. And I really loved that I could just reach out to Dave or Kim or Jamie really at any point and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, or can you watch this video and give me some feedback? Let me know like what is going on, or what can I try? And that was super helpful, and it really fixed this trip for us with Maggie right at the last minute.
That is so long. He totally sounds like a
Maggie, what do you think?
Oh,
She's like, I'll see if Cressy wants. Actually, thanks, Mike.
There's Chrissy.
She's doing so well.
She was saying maybe not.
A lot of sky.
Oh, you're my bird. I didn't even realize you were out there flying.
Maggie, you want to do it? Just go.
coming back.
It's fun, huh?
Katie and I are really close friends outside of work. We work together. We're both psychiatric nurses, and so we really study a lot of behavior in people, which is what I think makes us both really enjoy cockatoo behavior, because we can see the slight changes and know what to do with that. And so Katie also has a cockatoo, and we bond over our cockatoos, and we love our little cockatoos. And so I remember reaching out to Katie and saying, hey, Katie, do you want to pick up a really expensive hobby with me? And Katie was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, just know first, like everything that goes along with the hobby and your birds, but it's all about your birds. And Katie and I often would talk about how going on vacation and leaving our birds behind, it left this sort of like emptiness. You're worried about your birds. You want to know what they're doing and that they're happy. To find a hobby where you can take your birds with you, and it's really focused on the birds, and you're just enjoying your bird, enjoying the trip. It was huge, because my children are becoming adults now, and I need to find who I am as a person. I just love my birds so much that I wanted something I can incorporate with them. This trip has really been exactly that. being able to take Magnolia on a trip with us. She's having fun, she's having new experiences. It's like when your kids were little and your kids were going and learning new things and experiencing new things, and you're excited for them. Right now, going forward, we're going to be able to have such a good relationship with our birds and incorporate them into our lives. And Katie and Mike live very close to us, and they have that same love for their birds that we have. And so it makes it really nice to have another couple who has similar birds that you can go out and free fly with. I have watched so many BirdTricks videos repeatedly because I feel like if you just re-watch them over and over, you learn something new every single time by just watching what they're doing with their bird and how their bird is responding. So my husband may call me kind of a nerd, or he's just like, you just are constantly have BirdTricks running in our house, like everybody's learning from it, but you learn something new every time. So I really knew all those videos so well that when I went to meet up with this NorCal group to see how they did this with their birds, and was it similar type of methods, and would they be a compatible group for me that had the same safety in mind, Lauren and Jeff were there, and I was like, oh my goodness, you guys, I know who you are. And then I felt kind of creepy because she's like, I knew everything about them from their videos. I was like, oh yeah, you had your black-capped conures and they were little and this is their name, and now you have your macaws. And Lauren and Jeff have such similar beliefs on training, and they follow the BirdTricks training so closely that I feel super grateful to have them around, because I know that our safety ideas are going to line up and they're going to be somebody that we can free fly with. And so I brought Magnolia out there to watch the birds in the backpack. Jamie had said, you know, it might be good. That's a good desensitization method before we go to the flight trip. So I did that, and she got to watch all the birds flying around. And it was fun because she watches the birds flying around in our house on the TV, and Magnolia is hilarious. This is why I really wanted to do free flight with her too, is as soon as all the birds would be flying through the air on the TV, she starts flying circles around the house and kind of making her little happy noises, and then she comes around to her perch and she watches again, and then a bird flies and then she flies, and she's just going around in circles, and I'm like, oh my goodness, she wants to do this. So that was fun. If I had any advice for cockatoo owners who are thinking, can my bird free fly? You absolutely can free fly your cockatoo. If you do the same training and you just follow all the methods of BirdTricks, your cockatoo can fly. And even though they're not common for flying, I feel like they're birds, they fly too. That is what they do. They're all over Australia, right? You see them flying everywhere. And so they want to fly and they want to be part of the group. And although they will have more limitations on what they can accomplish free flying just because of their size, they have just as much fun doing it. And it's just as important for their health, and it's just as important for your relationship with them and for that bond building with your bird.